You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Class is now in session. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he gives you tips, techniques, and strategies to grow and monetize your podcast. Live in his Facebook group, The Better Method of Daily Audience Growth for Independent Podcasters. Learn from him and his special guests as they help you become the next podcast superstar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcasters of all ages, put your hands together for your host, Phil Better!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and I'm excited to introduce our guest today. They are the go-to bloke for blending cutting-edge AI with a good old yarn in the digital world. With more than 16 years under his belt, they have been navigating the online marketing outback, pioneering the use of nifty tools like ChatGPT to spice up social selling, and yes, sprinkling a dad joke or two. They're not just good, they're good day good. As head honcho of laptop lifestyle dads, our guest is all about helping fellow entrepreneurial dads from the down under and beyond. The mission to show them how to wrangle the digital landscape without missing a footy game or family Barbie. It's about making dough online while still having time to throw a shrimp on the Barbie. But here's the twist. Our guest is not just about the tech talk. Our guest brings an Aussie charm with wit to the digital scene. Think of our guest as the mate who can help you navigate the digital bushland with a smile and a laugh, whether it's cracking a joke about a kangaroo in a business suit or sharing a yarn about surfing the net while avoiding actual sharks. Our guest keeps things lighthearted and fun. In a nutshell, our guest is a caffeinated kangaroo, which you should check out his Facebook profile. He just shared an amazing photo using AI, who's part tech geek, part family man, and all about making the online business world a fair Dunkin' place for dads to succeed. So, without further ado, let's throw another success story on the Barbie and introduce our guest, Jeff Ross, to the podcast. Jeff?
Okay, Phil, how you going, mate? And I've got to love your attempt at our Aussie slang. It was pretty close, pretty good.
Thank you for allowing me to attempt the Aussie slang. Whenever I see slang from another country, regardless of where it is, I just feel white. Like, that a white guy on TV is trying to talk to kids. That's just how I feel. Like, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? But thank you very much for,
Hey, you got to love that whole bio was done by AI, right? So just put it into filters, generated all done by AI.
And also, let's say that bio was done by AI, and then I took that bio and created the intro by AI. So look at that, a double AI twist on the intro. I love it. And to our guests that are watching live, thank you so much for being here. But Jeff, let's just start off with the first question. Why did you become an entrepreneurial dad, if you will, or why did you jump into this digital brush wild outback that is the entrepreneurial world?
Yeah, look, great question. But before we do that, I'd have to open up with a dad joke, right?
Please.
So, how much does a polar bear weigh? I don't know, but I'm sure it's enough to break the ice. But
I love that. I wish I had a soundboard just for that.
That's what you want for a dad joke, right? The eye roll, the cringe, the the little giggle. Perfect. So why did I become an entrepreneur? Well, I was actually forced out of the traditional workforce. So I had a horse jump on my neck when I was about 23, 24. Ended up with 3 crushed discs in the back of my neck, basically all the nerves on my shoulder, totally gone. And yeah, doctors pretty much wrote me off and said, right, you got to live the rest of your life on a disability pension. I thought, okay, I'm 29 at this stage.
Jesus.
Just newly married, had 2 kids on the way. I had my first son, I had my second son on the way, thinking, okay, crap, what am I going to do to provide for this family that I've just started? All the other plans that I had were just shot out the window. So, look, everything happens in life. I reckon it's a blessing in disguise sometimes. You go through shit and you don't realize it's a blessing, but at the other end of it, it is. And for me, getting forced out of the traditional workforce, I had to open up my mind. I had to open up my heart to explore something new. That something new was the online marketing world, and that was back in 2009.
That's insane. Just starting your life, right? This what we call like the second part, your adult life. If you the 20s, you're figuring stuff out. You're about to hit 30. You're about to be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna start going to second gear in life, and no, you get this huge like stop pulled over, and you're going off-roading, if you will.
Yeah, definitely do have to do life through the school of hard knocks, that's for sure. So yeah, to boot, I'm basically a high school dropout, dyslexic, can't spell, don't have a piece of paper to my name, so I had to learn how to fail forward and fail forward fast.
Jesus. And so with that like giant mountain to climb, let's be honest, it was looking like you were at the bottom of Mount Everest with no training. Are you about to go out into the outback for your first, the brain journey? I don't know. I have no idea what. No simile, no metaphors coming to mind other than Mount Everest. And I'm like, I don't know anything about the outback, and I have clients in the Australia. But you're going on your first, like mind journey, like you're facing this unsurmountable thing. What did you do? What was the first thing you do to invest?
So I'm not sure what happened to our connection there. So what did I do? So, well, I came across a company called the 6 Figure Mentors, and they were a UK-based company. Essentially, they were a digital marketing education company. And I thought to myself back then, like, hey, I've seen people make money online. If they could do it, so could I. So I just had that imagination, that determination. When your back's against the wall, you've got no other option but to make shit work. So I threw myself into this company as learning about how to build websites, Facebook ads. So learning the skill sets that are required to make this all work. And it was also I was also a representative of that company too. So I was a direct sales commission, company. And so within 6 months, I had a bit of sales experience from previous jobs. I was able to bring that to the table. Just became very coachable. Just followed the system, and within 6 months, I was the #1 top rep here in Australia for that company, and so that started the whole journey.
Okay, so in essence, you, instead of following the traditional 9-to-5 job where you were unfortunately disqualified, you just created a 9-to-5 for yourself using this marketing company.
Pretty much, yeah. Which then got me a good taste of what was possible in this space.
My God. And then, how long were you with them before you decided, hey, I'm going to go off on my own and be my own boss, my own entrepreneur, and sell my own stuff?
So about 18 months. So like very early on, 6 months in, from 6 to 12, the 18 months mark, I sort of started coaching people how to do Facebook advertising way back in 2009, 2010. and how to leverage Facebook ads. And I found that, had a pretty natural gift to be able to explain how the tech world side of things, how to teach people how to do this stuff. And so I took that and basically started at my own it was my first attempt, digital marketing agency, doing websites, doing Facebook ads, social media marketing. And so we took that, and I started that business with 2 other business partners. Worked on very early on, about 12 months in that journey, that, hey, business partnership is like a marriage. You've got to get along with each other. You got to work with each other every day, and you got to learn to compromise and forgive and all that stuff that goes with a marriage, right?
Uh-huh.
That didn't work. That imploded on itself about 12 months into that journey. I took that on my own back, and I kept that running. It was called Ripple X Marketing. And so we fast forward now until about 2017. I've been running that business on my own, just sort of looking after small to medium-sized businesses around Australia and New Zealand. And just offering website services and that. So that back in that day, it was, especially with Facebook advertising and all that sort of thing, it was still fairly new. So it was some hard ground to pioneer, especially here in Australia.
No, I can only imagine, because even though I'm in Canada, I'm just north of the US, it's still a delay for things to come.
Mm-hmm.
For businesses to realize how important it is to use Facebook ads or Google ads or any type of digital marketing. And I can only imagine the delay for it to arrive,
It's about 8 to 10 years sometimes.
Jeez. And then you're there early pioneering, trying to kick down doors, trying to be the flag bearer. And now everybody and their uncle is doing it. And it's kind of thanks to you. So you're like a pioneer lifestyle.
Yeah, thanks to a bunch of us. I was one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So now you're the lifestyle dad, laptop lifestyle dad. How did you transition into that? Like, I know you were coaching and you were doing that. Was the coaching that transition to the laptop lifestyle?
Look, so there's a gap there in the story that I probably should fill in first. So after Ripple X Marketing, I decided to basically prove to people that I knew that I was talking about, walk my own talk a bit. Instead of building websites for other people and running my own business, I started an e-commerce business in 2017 with the whole drop shipping model. And basically just followed a system, built the website, did the whole lot. And within 4 months, we did $1.6 million in sales. Just using Facebook ads, right? So basically proved to people that, hey, Jeff knows what he's talking about a bit.
He actually knows how to barbecue.
Yeah. The reality is too that I as quickly as I rose that business, I grew that business, I created a perfect storm scenario for myself. I ended up having supplier issues very early on because they couldn't keep up with the demand, which then led to shipping and customer service issues. So our shipping times blew out from 2 weeks to 12 weeks, which then led to disgruntled customers asking for refunds and all that sort of thing. So as quickly as that business grew, it came crashing down just as hard. But I went through a 4-year marketing degree in 4 months through that journey. I come off the back of that. I go back to what I know, which was building websites and funnels. But through that whole experience, I learned the power of niching down. That was definitely one of my key success, in that was, putting the right product in front of the right people at the right time. So I took that newfound knowledge and I restarted another digital marketing agency. This time I called it Your Marketing Nerd. And I built up Your Marketing Nerd there from 2017, early 2017 to COVID, basically 2020, building customer acquisition pipelines for massage centers, chiropractors, gyms, so lead generation. So doing all the funnels, the website work, everything that we're doing, but just learn how to package it up and put the right offer in front of the right people. And grew that business very, very quickly as well. I ended up employing 4 guys for full-time there before COVID. We're doing about $500,000 a month in monthly retainers. And COVID comes along. Because in that business, I niched down in the health industry, I pretty much lost that business overnight. So gone up the roller coaster, come down, gone up the roller coaster, come down. And, once again, though, everything happens for a reason. Everything's a blessing, right? So because that digital marketing agency, I was that workaholic father. I had 3 boys, working 60, 80 hours a week, managing that business, burning myself out. So in a way, I'm grateful for COVID because it got me to pull up and reevaluate life and go, okay, look, I've got this skill set, that's this circle over here, and I'm great at what I can do there. I love to travel. I love to, and I've always aspired to travel regularly, especially with the family. And then I've got, my family life down here and all that sort of thing. So right back smack in the middle of that would be the sweet spot. So it gave me the opportunity to just figure out what I really wanted in my life and create a life that, hey, I don't need a vacation from, but just happens to be that now I'm a travel ambassador for a travel club. And so I've taken all of the marketing experience doing what I love now, which is I got the top global recruiter for Dream Trips International and traveling the globe. Like last week I was on a cruise.
I saw that.
Next week, taking the family to the Gold Coast. In April, taking my wife to Jamaica. Last 12 months, I went to Hawaii, Mexico, Punta Cana, Fraser Island. So, living the life, right? The laptop lifestyle, very much the aspirational aspect of that. So leading the way, once again, pioneering, showing what it looks like, when you get it right, and building that community. And as I've gone through the last decade and a half, running that service-based sort of model, I've always had it in my heart. I love coaching. I love teaching. I could do things really well for clients and have done, but that stuff just, it burns me out now. I'm just over it.
Yeah.
And so working out how to create that business model that I find joyful, that I jump out of bed each day and go, right, who could I serve? And that's where I am today, 2 years in after COVID. And, oh, by the way, my wife and I also own a massage business here in town where we employ 3 other massage therapists, and I do all the marketing for that as well. So we're about to we're about to sell the massage business. We're about to embark on a journey where we're selling everything in our house. We're downsizing. We're going to get a 4-wheel drive and a caravan and just start traveling around Australia, becoming nomads.
I love that. Because that is somewhat of my goal at one point, to do a nomadic trip across Canada. It's nearly as big as Australia, or we're about the same size. Except you guys don't have as many biomes as we do up here in Canada.
We've got a bit more coastline too.
Yeah, you got a nicer coastline to look out. You just have to worry about those friendly great whites out there.
Yeah. And all the snakes and spiders, right?
Yeah, and everything else that wants to kill you in Australia.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those drop bears.
Yeah, I hear they're dangerous. But I'm curious. After the nomadic lifestyle, that you're gonna do, what do you have next coming up? Like what is something that you want to either learn or you want to do with your life?
Yeah, great question. So I'm in a space now where things are pretty good with the travel business, with the coaching business, because I'm also teaching people how to leverage AI and social selling.
Yeah.
So essentially replicating and duplicating what I do on a day-to-day basis and teaching people how to do that as well. So I just love what I'm doing. I actually don't ever see a retirement plan for this, because this is something that I can do well into my 90s. Maybe not so much the travel part, but definitely the coaching and mentoring part. And so I'm in a journey at the moment. I basically, I've created the minimum viable product, if you will. And, I've proven to the marketplace that, an audience that, hey, this is a pretty decent business model. Now it's time to scale up and scale out in a big way. Part of that journey too is I'm writing a book using ChatGPT, of course, to help me with that. So essentially writing a book of the last decade and a half of all the entrepreneurial lessons that I've had. The title of the book is called Fail Forward 1,000 Times. And the outcome of the book is to teach entrepreneurs how to share their story. The story is where it's at, right? Stories where people connect on an emotional level, and how we can relate and resonate, and we can learn through story. So the power of story, and teaching how people craft their story and share their story effectively. And there is also, I'm a Christian, so there's a bit of a Christian element to that as well. So that's the next big project is writing my first book. I am about to launch my first podcast, probably April, May this year. So I'll be, launching that as well. So as I said, it's scale up time. It's I've got the proven predictable system, if you will, dialed in. Now I just need to get out to a bigger, larger audience.
So if I could somewhat take a look at this, and if I can make an analogy, if you will, it's kind of like you figured out the best ad for your product. Now it's to put the money into it. You have figured it what is the best product, and now you're just going to amp up the marketing.
Yeah, perfect analogy. And just to back that up, I would always say you should never put any money into advertising until you know how to market yourself organically, until you know how to get an offer going in front of the audience organically and get it going for free. At the end of the day, marketing either costs you time or costs you money. I've wasted a lot of money experimenting at the front end, trying to get things right with money. It's better off to go and get it right first, dial it in, and then use money to, paid ads to scale something up.
I love that. And it's a great analogy. If you could teach my audience right now, teach them one thing that can help them either dial in the marketing or dial in their product. Like,
Great.
Get to know what would you teach them?
Well, there's two things that I always see any entrepreneur struggle. I've built thousands of campaigns for a lot of other business owners. And even myself, like I've struggled with this in the past. And it all comes down to one thing: nailing your niche. Stop trying to market to the whole pie and find a piece of the pie that's an inch wide but a mile deep. That is the number one way that I know how to cut through the noise, because let's face it, it's a very noisy, busy place out there. And you need to be able to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. Best way to do that is to find a audience, a tribe, that your message just speaks directly to their heart. And you can't do that unless you know all the intimate details about your niche. If I look back at my last 15 years, the success stories that I have had, it's because I've nailed my niche. Our massage business, it's not just a massage business. We had the crazy idea of putting in a kids creche and combine that with a massage business, because our massage serves young families who don't have family support locally because they can't get, our mum and dad to say, hey, you look after my kid and go get a massage. So we'd solve that problem by understanding what our niche audience will say. That was actually us when we moved to Launceston. So we solved the problem there by serving the niche itself first and then working out how to do it. So the other thing too would be to start with the why. Whenever you promote yourself, whatever it is, a lot of us promote what we do and how we do it. Very few of us out there lead with why we do it. And essentially all we're doing is, as marketers, is taking someone from Sucksville to Awesome Town, the before state to the after state. So really highlight the outcome, the results of what it looks like in Awesome Town, and then paint the picture of how they can escape Sucksville, whatever your product or service is. When you get that right, you can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Ooh, again, with even better analogies than I have. Would you do it all over again?
In what respect? The whole journey?
Yeah, the whole journey.
Yeah, 100%.
There's nothing you would change?
No, not at all. Look, we all go through our dark forest, our shit seasons in life, and I've come to be grateful for those. I know, sounds weird, right? But I've learned to be really, really grateful for those, because they're how we're built up. Sometimes you've got to be broken down to be built back up. And I look at it from the caterpillar to the butterfly analogy, right? When a caterpillar goes and turns into a butterfly, it's got to go into its cocoon phase, the chrysalis. And inside that cocoon, it gets broken down to the DNA base level before it then starts to reform and build up and become that big, beautiful butterfly. That's very much, that's life. That's the entrepreneurial journey. And each lesson, each time we go through a challenging season, it becomes faster and easier to deal with in a roundabout way, because we've done it once before, and we become stronger. That saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, is so true in this respect. And our trials and our tribulations, they're how our characters is formed and how our characters built up. So yeah, I wouldn't wish any of the shit that I've gone through on my worst enemy, but I'm grateful for it because it's made me who I am today.
I love it. Great. I love you, Jeff. I love that we've connected and that I have you here on the podcast sharing it. I know I got my good friend Tim Bicycle in the comments just saying how much he loves it. He's like, the downs help us appreciate the ups. Can't run without walking, which is true. So I want to thank Tim for being here, Wilfredo as well. Some amazing also dads as well. So this is a apropos episode. And it's talking straight to your core audience here. What is a book? No, screw the book question. Because the book question is selfishly for me, but I want to know, as your dynamic role as a caffeinated kangaroo, staying in the forefront of digital landscape is crucial. How do you invest in your own continual learning and personal development? And are there specific habits, courses, or resources that you find particularly valuable in honing your skill and staying relevant in the ever-evolving world of online entrepreneurship as well as AI?
I look at things as you come to realize in this journey that we're all somebody's guide. We're either being guided or we're somebody's guide, right?
Mhm.
So to be successful in anything in life, we need three things. We need someone who's pulling us up, got the hand down the mountain, bringing us up. So a coach or a mentor, even professional athletes still have coaches, to help them in their craft. We need somebody that we're in the foxhole with. We lock arms with them and they help us to keep accountable and help us keep pushing forward and essentially doing life together. And then we also need to have our hand down, helping somebody up as well. It doesn't matter where you are in that journey. You're somebody's guide. The only difference between you, me, or the other person is how far down the path we are. So I'm a continual learner. I continually read books, especially in the personal development mindset space, because that is such a big thing, right? Our thoughts lead to our thoughts lead to our feelings lead to our actions lead to our results. So really, really big student on, mindfulness and personal development and getting that right. And then I aspire to be like, some of the top network marketers in the world, Fraser Brooks, Eric Worre, so I'm a student of those guys and basically get mentored by them. And, and then got the personal development side of things and the business side of things. My go-to person right now would be Darren Hardy, basically consuming everything that Darren Hardy has to offer. And then, look, I learn by trial by fire. Get out there, experiment, fall flat on my face a few times, fail forward. And that's essentially how I've learned how to do the whole AI space. I've got that technical background from my marketing days. So diving into something new like this wasn't as scary and daunting as what it was when I first learned how to build websites. So, you get stronger and you get more mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Fortitude. And you just get strong in that space. And so you can go through it a lot faster. And the only way I really learned how to master ChatGPT at the end of the day was to throw myself into the deep end. I've actually got a YouTube video out there about 12 months ago saying ChatGPT sucks. It's never going to work. I threw myself into the deep end. I only tasted a little bit of it and did the OJ thing and just put in a simple prompt without giving it any foundations and got shit results. So I'm going, this is going to be shit. It's not going to work. But then I realized, hang on, there are other people out there mastering this. What did I do wrong? And how do I humble myself and open my mind up and open my heart up and go back to this and master it myself? So I went on a mission. I went and learned how to become a prompt engineer and actually, learn, oh shit, this is a tool that if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. Put great stuff in, you're going to get great stuff out. So it's that whole learn, do, teach model. Go and learn something, go and do it, because, you got to have the applied knowledge is where the results are. And then once you master it, teach it back to the community. So you got that whole circle going.
I love it. And I love it. And it's kind of like the Trinity as well. touching on the Christian faith. You got the three things. We're coming to the end, which I hate because, Jeff, I'm having a great time chatting with you.
Me too.
I love the down unders because you're at the bottom of the world. I'm at the top of the world. We're both in the extremes of the world. So we get along great.
But are you at the bottom or am I at the top? Like, who really knows?
It depends on how we. Like, it depends. Like if we're on Earth right now, I'm at the top because I'm closest to the north and you're closest to the south. But we're in space; it can be flipped around. So it all really depends on where your perspective is in
It all
the world,
does. Yeah.
which I love. But as my audience knows, I'm writing a book for my nephew. So when he turns 10, he has all the advice from these amazing entrepreneurs who have kicked down more doors than I think I've ever seen in my life. So Jeff, I have your 10-year-old self right here because I'm going to steal your advice because that's the only way we get bigger and better is standing on the shoulders of giants.
I say that all the time.
Right? I have your 10-year-old self right here. What one piece of advice you want to give your 10-year-old self or give your children who haven't turned 10 yet, if they haven't turned 10 yet, what advice are you giving them?
Well, look, this is actually perfect timing because I've got an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and they're all boys. So, great question. And it's sort of really been a lesson that I've learnt myself over the last 12 months. And I wish I learnt it when I was 10. There's one of those profound moments, right? And essentially it's this: don't be attached to other people's opinions. Now, I know that that's easier said than done. Very much I've gone through 40 odd years being attached to other people's opinions, and I've done everything that I can to bend over backwards to serve people, to make sure that they're happy about things. But, when you just release that, it's so much freedom in that, and you can just get out of your own way. Like you can get into your head, you can get to your heart and just go serve. And when you just don't care, I really, really just don't care about what other people think and how they respond or react to things. You can just go out there and just do you, just be you and be present. And there's so much freedom. Like the reason I'm having the success that I'm having now is because I've done exactly that. I've let go of what other people think of me. I'm just showing up. I'm just shining every day, regardless. And, it's all that whole responsible to, but not responsible for conversation. I'm responsible to do my part, to show up and serve and do that in the best way that I can and put my best foot forward every day. But I'm not responsible for how anybody around the world reacts or responds to that. So losing the attachment of other people's opinions has created so much freedom and so much room for me to grow into that and just become that person that I know that I can be.
Jesus. Murphy.
I'm glad this is recorded.
I am too, because like you are dropping more golden nuggets than I think there has ever been found in a gold mine, with some of the lessons and advice that you're sharing here, and that was just perfect. I'll clip that for you, and you can give it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But with that said, I'm going to jump off stage here. I want you to let my audience know where they can connect with you, where they can talk with you, how they may end up joining the laptop dad lifestyle, if they're looking for that, or mom or parent lifestyle, if we will. We don't judge here on investing in yourself, but the floor is yours, Jeff.
Look, keep it really, really simple. Just come connect with me on Facebook. Come follow me on Facebook. I don't have a website yet. I'm in the process of building one and developing my own podcast. And it's been intentional for that because I wanted to prove to people that they don't need a website to be able just to get out there and run and go do their thing and get started. Yes, a website is a great tool to help, create that archive, to create that credibility later on down the road, but we don't need a website and, just need a simple funnel to get started. So probably the easiest place to come find me and come hang out with me is my Facebook group. So the Laptop Lifestyle Dad. So facebook.com/groups/Laptop Lifestyle Dads. Come along, request an invite and just come and join the ride. I'm actually second day in to my three-day challenge that I run. I run a challenge teaching people how to leverage AI, especially ChatGPT-4, and how to create a proven, predictable social selling system. So it's a 3-day challenge. It's an hour a day. I'm on day 2 right now for the current one. I run this once a month. So don't worry if you miss this one, you won't miss out. The replays are up there for 7 days. So yeah, we just did day 1 yesterday, teaching everybody why they need to be using AI, and how to use AI to nail your niche. I've got all these fill in the blank prompts. Day 2, we come along and teach you how to eliminate the problems of inconsistency in content marketing, overwhelm and writer's block, and all of those challenges that come with this space. So I teach you how to use AI, how to create a content calendar, and how to create some amazing content from an attraction marketing point of view. And then day 3, we basically, I take that and I give you my super prompt, which is a fill in the blank prompt. So all of the guidelines from like the hero's journey concept and everything else to be able to create amazing content that speaks directly to your heart of your audience. So you nail your niche, you get some consistency going, and then you've got the tools there to go and just keep showing up and shining every day by creating amazing content, leveraging AI. I also wrap that session up with teaching you how to give you your customer value journey, which is what I call my proven predictable system. When we know how to create awareness, how to create engagement, how to create a tribe, community, a list, whatever that looks like, how to offer the right offer in front of the right people at the right time, how to onboard and create a wow experience and deliver on the promise, how to upsell, cross-sell, downsell even, and then how to tap into word-of-mouth marketing with referral partners and brand advocates and all that. When you can dial that system in, that's when you're off to the races. And essentially, that's what I coach. That's what I teach. So, yeah, come along for the ride. Come along, join the Facebook group. So that was facebook.com/groups/laptop lifestyle dads. I look forward to seeing you there.
Let everybody know I am watching those videos, FYI. So if you start seeing some really cool stuff, you can thank Jeff for that. But of course, Jeff, thank you so much again for being here. I'm looking forward to having you on when you launch your podcast so that I can talk to you about your podcast and all that crazy goodness there. Again, thank you so much for being here.
Well, absolute pleasure. I just love to serve. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
You're very, very welcome. And to my audience, as you know, check out the show notes down below. There's going to be just one link. Eventually, there'll be 2 links. Right now, it's just the link to join Jeff's Facebook group. Join it. Then once the podcast is live, you'll get that link to the podcast so you can learn and join that journey. But I'm Phil Better. This is Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. I thank you all very much for listening. Thank you to my guests for being here. And just always remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.